Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 163, which is called The Pursuers. And yeah, this was an interesting episode, mainly a fight episode in that not a lot of plot happened, but it got characters into position. So I think that it was interesting in that sense. Obviously the highlight of this episode was that, okay, Amoy and these two Cloud Shinobi are here. It's not like the others transformed into them. No, it is actually Amoy. So that was actually quite fun, especially when they brought back up his character quirk. That being that whenever something goes wrong, he always extends it and it just makes it worse and worse and worse, and he just gets really worried about it. That definitely really helped in terms of a character that we know from Naruto Shippuden, of course. And them adding a little bit extra on here with okay, he's sort of a veteran at this point in time. He's in charge of his group at this point, and after the initial discussions of okay, you guys didn't do this, and then the Cloud have information that okay, they're from the land of haze and they sort of specialize in poisoning. So we believe you now. They're all going to go together to investigate the Hashirama cell because I suppose the Cloud don't want it falling into anyone's hands. And because things are relatively peaceful in the Shinobi world, I suppose they're happy enough with the Leaf Village, regaining the Hashirama cell or whatever's going to happen to it. So that early kind of introduction section was fine, but when it really came down to it, this episode amounted to the triplets, the three of four that are left, have to make the decision of they're really worried that the Hashirama cell, even though it's in the canister, is going to go out of control. So they're going slower than you think, and they realize someone is going to have to stay behind to hold off their pursuers because they can't go as quick as they want, having to contain the Hashirama cell. So it seems like the youngest is always the one to stay behind, it seems, unless they're going to create some other rule with them. It seems that it's the way it's going to go, because the guy that stays behind at the end says it's to protect his older brothers. So that's an interesting dynamic in that in the preview I think they show that I guess the oldest, the main guy, has 3 of the earrings on. So I guess we're going to get to a point where he will have all 4 of them, and they'll reveal something really specific about them and why they specifically want the Hashirama cell, because they do seem like a completely separate entity in all of this, in that for the most part, at the start of this arc, it was the Leaf Village and then Victor, basically Kara, after this thing. Now obviously we know Deepa is Kara as well. So what are the Haze up to in all of this? Because even Deepa is oh, there's another group involved in this. So I don't know, will they do it in the next episode? Because obviously they're teasing this special jutsu that the guy's going to use for the next episode. Is this going to be when we get the full details on it? I get the feeling they'll probably wait for the last brother's sacrifice, and then when there's only one of them left, that's maybe when the full details about what they're up to will come out. But yeah, Deepa starting his investigation and finding his way into this whole situation going on, and just they set up this sort of mystery of he's just killing people very easily, and nothing seems to be a problem for him. Then he gets into a fight with Amoy and the Cloud Ninja, and this is obviously what they really focus on here. Okay, Amoy is going to get the big first anime fight against a Kara member. So it's mainly, of course, a sword fight here, in that Deepa only uses his fists, and it doesn't really seem like he's using jutsu, but he might have some sort of a ocular jutsu type thing going on, just because they really emphasize, his eyes can go red, and there's a few times when he just sort of opened his eyes and as an attack was coming in, and the others were sort of shocked by whatever happened. So he seems to have potentially some sort of ability that gives him a slight advantage. Other than that, it's unclear about is he just wearing metal fists and metal armor, or is his skin armor basically? Either way, it seems like he's able to just take people out with punches. in that it seems like he barely does anything to them. He's not cutting them or anything like that, but he's killing people very clearly. I don't know if the other two Cloud Ninja have been killed or just like knocked out in one blow, but they seem to really be emphasizing the idea that like he's not doing too much, but he's really, really skilled. That all of Amoy's techniques, that he primarily goes through a lot of the stuff that we saw him use in Shippuden. So I think they are teasing the idea that we'll probably see him now as an adult, the extent to which his powers have grown to the point where he is this kind of bigger leadership position in the Cloud. So I think he'll have to have a better showing, but I don't think Amoy is going to be the one to defeat Deepa. I think they have to set up Deepa by having him ultimately defeat Amoy, but Amoy survives, of course. And then the idea here, of course, is that we are pretty much expecting this arc to end up with them killing off Deepa. But so how exactly that's going to come about, like who's going to have to deal with him, is very, very interesting. And I think that's why like there is such an intrigue in this arc, because like the whole Urashiki thing when Urashiki was in play, we knew that like he has to be dealt with because he's not really in the manga, and it's the same situation with Deepa here. That okay, he's a Kara member, where how is he going to get defeated? I think everyone pretty much wants it to be, can Konohamaru really get like a good fight here? I don't know. Are they going to do something like with this guy where like he's immune to taijutsu but he's actually open to jutsu? Because so many of the villains end up being like, jutsus don't work on me unless when my guard is down. It'd be interesting if this guy was basically like immune to standard taijutsu bladed weapons, but that jutsus can actually work on him. That'd be a nice kind of counterpoint in a way. But again, I think there's some sort of power explanation that's going to have to come out about what exactly his Deepa's skill set is, and we'll see who's best suited to take him on. But the rest of the episode is basically that, of course, Amoy and the Cloud Ninja stay behind to hold off Deepa. That allows the Leaf Shinobi to go ahead to pursue the remaining quadruplets, the triplets or whatever is left. One of them stays behind, and that's the setup at the end of the episode, that he is going to basically sacrifice himself. He's going to do what needs to be done to hold them off so that his brothers can get past the nation borders and escape. Again, we're still wondering, what do they want the Hashirama cell for? Like, who sent them on this mission? Because they're obsessed with the mission, that they're willing to die for the mission that's going on here. And it's kind of this, like, reverse Sasuke retrieval mission arc, where it's actually the villains who are the ones doing the sort of leaving people behind to get through the different stages of the mission. But the heroes are also kind of doing it with, like, Amoy staying behind and so on. So it's your sort of standard Naruto sort of battle setup thing of like pairing off into your fights, but there's not that many villain characters involved here, so it's a little bit more contained. So I'm intrigued to see who actually gets a chance to fight. Like, I get a feeling like Mugino might get a chance to really star here. Konohamaru, I think, probably needs it most of all. And I don't know, like, how much will they do or not do with, like, Boruto, Mitsuki, Sarada? They'll be involved there and thereabouts, but I think you have to allow the Jonin to do most of the work at this stage. I don't know how many episodes are left in this arc or whatever, because obviously I think we still ultimately are going to have to return to whatever's going on with Victor. So I do get the impression that we've probably still got quite a few episodes left here. I don't think it's, like, reaching its conclusion in the next episode or two. I can definitely picture there being like at least 7, 8, if not 10 more episodes, depending on what way they want to go about it. But yeah, the setup for next episode seems to be the idea of he's going to use this sort of sacrificial jutsu, a jutsu of death that will sacrifice himself but will win the fight, basically. That'll be interesting to see what exactly that is, as a speciality jutsu, I guess, from the Land of Haze. That could be unique. And then I suppose they'll also have to continue the Amoy Deepa fight unless they're really going to just commit to, Amoy just has lost already. He's not coming back. Because I don't think they're not going to kill off a Moy like this. So I think there has to be a little bit more from him. Other than that, I think that's most of what I wanted to say about this episode. Pretty solid. I appreciated us getting primarily a fight-focused episode. But I think until we get the specifics on what Deepa's up to, I'm still a little bit unclear about what's going on there. So, you know, there's stuff that they have to go on, and I think that will keep us going for at least the next few episodes, explaining Deepa's powers, a couple more fights, and I actually am getting more and more interested in what the quadruplets were up to, and what the whole aim of the Land of Haze with the Hashirama cell actually is. But yeah, they're my thoughts on the episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.